Hey guys, Matt Science here, and today I am back for episode number 8 of r/NuclearRevenge. At least I think I'm on 8, right? Yeah, I'm on episode 8. Just been a while since I could record some more of these. Today I have 2 episodes lined up. Let's start off with the first one. Years of drunken abuse result in a blanket party. My aunt was an intensive care nurse at a hospital in Texas for 30 years. This is her story. A while back, my aunt tells me and my cousins this story, probably as a warning about drinking, I guess. For years, Mrs. Smith, oh wink wink, that, would come into my aunt's ER bad and bruised. Apparently, sometimes quite severely. The woman was getting up there in years and had almost monthly visits that sometimes required her to stay for a week or more. A quick rundown of some of her injuries I recall. Broken pelvis, explained by falling down the stairs in her one-story home. Broken arms, wrists, explained as falling out of her car. A shattered orbital bone in her eye socket. Ow! No explanation I can recall. A series of broken ribs. Various excuses. Lastly, this dipshit broke her back, which required fusing 3 of her vertebrae. Driveway car accident. So, Mrs. Smith is appropriately qualified as a total piece of shit. On the end of my aunt's 12-hour shift, the call comes in from the ambulance that they are bringing in a 70-year-old Smith. Faces fell, everyone gets somber, knowing that Mrs. Smith probably won't survive the night due to the years of beatings she's already endured. The ER calls the ambulance back, asking for a description of the injuries so the OR can be somewhat prepared. What they heard on the radio pissed everyone off. The paramedics were completely unprofessional. They were laughing their asses off as they described broken arm, broken leg, and lacerated scalp. Okay. When the ambulance pulls up, my aunt and several other ER staff are trying to read them the riot act. Instead, Mrs. Smith grimly steps out of the ambulance. The paramedics pull the stretcher out of the ambulance and wheel her husband inside. Enough is enough. Apparently, that's all she said. The paramedics had to fill in the rest of the story, so here it is. Mrs. Smith came home drunk one last time, and she wrapped him in a blanket and beat him with a cast iron frying pan. Mr. and Mrs. Smith never came back to the ER. Maybe he learned. TLDR, abused elderly woman returns the favor. After you wrap someone up in blankets, such a way that you can actually keep them secure. And then just like, right there down. Bang, bang, bang. Just, a lacerated scalp? How do you lacerate a scalp with a frying pan? Huh? Oh, from the rope. Yeah, that makes sense. Next story. Humiliate me? Hit me? Fight my brother? 900 plus honeybees would like to help me break up with you. Throwaway account for obvious reasons, though I think if he or any of my immediate family reads this, they'll know who I am. It's not every day someone gets bee swarmed by an atheist daughter. Take out the bone, remove the NSFW flare, but it's still not for the squeamish. Oh boy! So here's the necessary background. I come from a family of sideline beekeepers, so I've been around bees my whole life. I have no problem being around creepy crawlies, and bees tend to be comforting in some way for me. It isn't like a pet though, more like a distraction from the real life. Anyways, I'm weird and I like bees more than people. My dad is a sideline apiarist, so selling honey and queen bees is his side business. His main job is an architect. I started dating a junior athlete in high school 2 years ago. He was everything I wanted when I was going through my teen fantasy phase. Tall, blonde, smelled great. I don't know why you're fascinated on smell. And he was an absolute delight to be around. For the sake of the story, we'll call him Harris. Harris was a bit of a troubled kid. I knew his parents put pressure on him, but that often led to outbursts at others. Since I, his lovely, bee-obsessed girlfriend, was there at all times, I was the easiest to lash out at. Now, I'm not a short girl by any means, but Harris, like I said, was tall. At the time, I hated to admit that I was truly afraid when he decided to pick on me. But these offences were so far and few that I ignored them because, he was amazing. We had some of the best times. He was the first and only guy I've ever had sex with. Thanks for the info. I'll spare you the details, but I thought it was going to be a secret between me and him. My honeymoon with him died a year later when he invited me to senior prom. I was a sophomore at the time, so I was super stoked to go. I picked out a dress and everything, feeling on top of everything. I was a bit on the heavy side back then, but not to the point it was noticeable unless I took off my clothes. Still, dress. Something that isn't pants. I was excited. Who cares about arm fat? Well, apparently all of Harris's friends do. I almost forgot that these guys and girls were athletes. I was not. As soon as I caught up with them, I found they were in a total jokey mood. Great, I love jokes. So, OP, Harris really loves you, said one of his friends. I know, I could act smug. I grinned. Yeah, I replied. And I love him too. Cute, kissing interlude here. His friend rolled her eyes, said something about me being weirdly cute. Harris grinned and took a break from me to talk. Oh really? Cute? Like what? A baby hippo! She probably meant this in jest, but I thought it was unusual. Maybe I was self-conscious or something and thought it was a fat joke. I didn't laugh and I could feel my face go hot. I'd picked up a Coke earlier and I was pretty sure it was heating up in my palms. True, Harris said in his ever so suave voice as he wrapped his arm around me. His hand travelled down the side of my dress and he squeezed my stomach. OP is my baby hippo, and I saw all of it. Ah, yikes, that's not nice. Insert more laughter here. Then the conversation took off. I mean, it went from 0 to 100 really quick. He spilled the honey and told his friends, all 5 people here, about how me and him did the sexy business. He said some off-putting comments about my body and the parts he wanted to touch. Oh, nah. I was trying my damn hardest not to cry, since this could have been a harmless joke on their part. Needless to say, I wasn't having any of it, so I excused myself. Not to the bathroom, but home. I called my dad to pick me up, not to let Harris's dad know. I wasn't in the area during spring break. My dad flew me and my brother, a year younger, 15 at the time, out to Pennsylvania for vacation. We went to the Hershey's chocolate factory and all, and I had a chance to clear my head. As far as I can remember, this was the last time my dad was actually pleased with me. When we returned in 10 days, Harris popped in a visit at a time he knew my dad wouldn't be home. My brother was, as he usually was, playing Minecraft on his PC in his room. I thought Harris visited to apologize for the whole baby hippo thing, but I was grossly mistaken. He punched me in the gut. I've never been punched before up until now, and it was truly horrible. Not only did it hurt like hell, but it damn near made me puke and knocked the wind out of me at the same time. He grabbed me by the shoulders and shouted at me. He said I shouldn't have left on prom, how I shouldn't have embarrassed him in front of his friends, and that I should have called him when I was in Pennsylvania. My brother came running down the stairs when he heard the commotion. I had this urge to bend over and stay bent over, so I couldn't really focus on him. All I knew is that he went after Harris, cursing, shouting, and crying. I ran the other way, the best I could, trying to breathe first and foremost. It was hard to do anything or think straight with this horrible taste in my mouth and nasal cavity, like I'd thrown up inside my nose or something. It was gross, and it certainly pissed me off. I can attest that it would be gross to not throw up, but have it feel like you're throwing up in your nose. I've had that happen many times. Going for my phone was difficult, since Harris had already found his way away from my brother, begging me not to call the cops. I almost got the landline too, but Harris snatched it from my hand. He broke the cover, took out the batteries, then proceeded to beg again. This time, he didn't touch me, and I told him to get the hell out. I cleaned up the house so my dad wouldn't see any of this. This was going to be my first and last fight with Harris. Or so I hoped. At least he didn't check the landline. My brother was more injured, and certainly devastated. He could even ask if I was okay, and I took it as he knew I wasn't, and only proceeded to cry. He really looked up to Harris. Let's go 5 hours ahead. 10 PM, and I'm still seething. We found out my brother had sprained his wrist, so we rigged up some sort of easy to remove ice thing. My dad was a hard man, so I knew he would get upset at first when he saw the mess we'd gotten into. I can't remember what my intention was, whether I was going to tell him about Harris or not. I knew that he would be back the day after, so I had to exact my revenge right now. I shut the doors, windows, and waited for my brother to go to sleep. Now came the tidy bits. I shimmied into the other set of beekeeper clothes, the ones my mum wore when she was around to check on the apiary. I got the veil, the gloves, the boots, you know. Gotta be prepared. Why? That night was particularly cold, and it felt very unreal. I was unpacking thousands of honeybees, moving them around until I got the right number of frames, all under my dad's nose, and I was going to release them on a living human being. We had roughly 30,000 bees per hive and around 150 hives. Like I said, it was a side business, and we needed honey. I knew at the time that 1,000 or so bee stings could kill, and I wasn't planning on going to jail. I was just going to make this hurt like hell. I isolated a fair number of bees within 2 frames with a bit of difficulty. There were maybe 900, 950. Not all of them would sting him, but I wanted to get him back for everything. Who punches their baby hippo, right? Once I had my bees in place, I set the single frame in its own hive close to the home. I called him and told him that I wanted to work some things out with him. No violence, none of that stuff. I lied through my teeth, telling him I won't tell my dad that I was doing alright. He showed up 5 minutes later and stepped up to my door. The porch light was the only thing illuminating him, and the rest of the place was dark. I removed the frames from the hive. I walked up behind him, beekeeper boots squeaking on the steps, frame in my hand. "Hi, Harris," I said. I thought it would sound cool, but I was crying. My voice broke. Voice breaking was the least of Harris's problems at the moment anyway. I was holding 2 open frames with almost 1,000 bees. Some of them were flying around, but I was fully protected. Harris, not so much. I swatted him with 1 frame and thrusted the other one against his mouth, hoping that I would at least get a single bee between his lips. A single bee sting hurts like hell, and it would hurt for a while. The thing about bees is that they are a true hive mind. A single bee dies, and all bees in the area go into defensive mode, stinging at whatever flesh and deter whatever attacker they can find in order to protect the hive. The frame I hit Harris with likely killed a few. The resulting scream was insane. I'd never heard him scream before. I almost expected the bees to fly away and hide in some other hive. But no. When bees defend, they really defend. It didn't help that Harris wore short sleeves and had his neck and face exposed. So the bees went for that. Fortunately for him, none of the bees went inside his mouth like I intended. They weren't stupid and wouldn't do that. Instead, they just kept stinging him. I ended up falling down the stairs and scrambling into the dark, looking to get away from him. Looking back though, he was in no position to fight, and I shouldn't have ran. But I did, and I got to watch him try to fight his way through the cloud of bees. I think he learned that killing one bee won't scare the swarm. TLDR, boyfriend reveals secrets, punched me for getting mad at said secrets, and strained my brother's wrist. I dumped bees on him. Aftermath, he didn't die. He just took forever to recover, and he pockmarked my scars. By scars. Me, I actually spent time in jail, but I wasn't sentenced. My dad was extremely upset at me for using bees as weapons, and I am currently in the process of working off that payment. He doesn't look at me the same anymore, and I feel really bad about that. I wish I'd just gone to him at first. Thanks for all the positivity. Oh my gosh. That is just crazy. Using bees as your weaponry. Just like, you know, I just thought that would be funny. You know the pocket sand meme? Like, pocket sand! It's just like, pocket bee! Just like, pocket bees, God! And they just sting your enemy. Don't bee stingers work even after death? Don't they? Like, wow. Just imagine that situation. Just like, all I can just picture is Harris just like, ah! Just like waving his arms around, trying to swat away the bees. But that's just getting him stuck in the arms. Ah, you idiot. Anyways, I'm going to end this episode here. Links will be in the description to the main channel and also the second channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when next video comes out. A ding, a ding. I'm Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist out.